All right. I'm gonna paper trade for today. I don't think I'm gonna trade the real money yet. Soon. Let's look at Amazon. So Thursday. This is Wednesday. This is Thursday. I did take short positions on it on my paper trade. Here I covered a little earlier than I probably should, but I was thinking that it bounced up kind of high. I'll show you. You see what I'm saying? So I shorted it here. Started bounce up kind of high. So I was thinking. So I covered it right here. So then I was thinking, okay, it could come back up here and then start to go back down, or I would like to see kind of where it was going, because the market on Thursday was kind of interesting. So the market was really kind of a little finicky, if I remember right. But then I saw it going back down, and you can see I took a short about right there on this candle, and I covered it over here. So I covered it over here because once it crossed this middle VWAP right here, I was thinking it could come all the way back up, test the top VWAP. Because as we can see here, it got close but was rejected, got close, got rejected. Here it broke through, and that's where I decided to go ahead and sell. And we can see if I held on to that position, it would have been a absolutely terrible mistake. As earning call came in, I didn't even realize that was coming up that soon. Earning call came in, and this is turning into a very bullish move. So we're going to take a look at that here kind of early this morning. Tesla looks like it's still going down, but we'll take a look at that on a different screen here. So let me move that over. Today's going to be a hard day for me. I could already tell you. If you don't know, I don't think anyone's going to rewatch this video. I'll probably end up deleting it too. But my dog of 18 some odd years passed away Friday. Layla was with me on every single live, every single video I've ever done for YouTube. You just might not have saw her, but she was there. So I'm having to learn how to not have her around, and that is not easy. All right. Sorry, I had to wipe my tears again. So we're going to take a look at I'm going to start paying attention to stuff. I don't know if I'm going to take any trades this week at all, but starting next week, I might do some trades again. Almost all my paper trades have worked out. I've been a lot more patient with some of the trades, and that's ultimately starting to work out. So Tesla, what are you going to end up doing? This is really kind of a scary chop here. You can get triggered in and out of this quite easily. But I am trying to send this message here. I couldn't get that word spelled correct. Oh well. Alright. Alright, so Tesla, I don't know what it's gonna end up doing. Right now, I don't like where it's at. It's definitely below this line, which is, I guess, through Friday might have been able to, but it was holding a little bit more of a support than I was wanting. But you can see there's the break below too. So I definitely think that this could go short. Possibly. Amazon, I do like kind of where it's at right now. Maybe going more above the going more towards the 135. I almost just said something different. 135 started to kind of getting over this area, but this is looking very, very strong compared to where it was. Not, I mean, just a few days ago. Definitely a good move here, but you could have gotten caught. Could have gotten caught actually kind of easily. All right, so let's take a look at Queen and Spy. So that looks like that's starting to recover a little bit here. I gotta clean my list up. It's a mess right now. All my sheets are. Why is Apple going down? So Apple just released the new M3. I think that might be. Okay, that's fine. You could buy all of Apple's products, latest products, and the world's most expensive French fries. There's some kind of thing. Yeah, so they got the standard M3 in there. Now, I do somewhat agree with that. The new Apple, I do like it, but it is definitely on the expensive side. So what they're saying is you go with the maxed out version. Now, in all honesty, for most people, the 48 gig memory would be fine. Maybe a little bit, maybe 2 terabyte, but you can get away without needing 2 terabyte worth of data for this. You really can. You can get away with one. Maybe if you're doing like some massive videos, you might need that. You know, the bigger storage. But how many people are really going to need the 8 terabyte? So with this, you know, they're sitting here and they're really hounding on the fact that it cost, you know, 7,000 to have the one that's maxed out. But I don't know that many people who would need to have 8 terabyte of onboard storage. Now, for an extra $2,200, that is stupid. That is way too much. Um, yeah, see, SSD. So they're wanting just a super. So yeah, a 4 TB Western Digital Black. It's 350. Um, and Western Digital is a good brand. So um, here's critical for 2. And you can't update them because they want you to spend the absolutely ridiculous price to Apple to update it. So I agree with that. It is it's a bit much, you know, to go from, you know, one TB to 4. Trust me, I don't think Apple was spending anywhere near that. So that's a huge upsell. Um, this I don't think is as bad going from 48 to 64, $200 more. That's not a big deal. But going to 1,000, maybe, I don't know. I would have to think about that. I would have to look into that. But I think this is a little much for the price that you're paying. How much do I have on this thing? Now I did spend a pretty penny for this. I have 63. So I don't think the amount of people that are going to get it fully maxed out is going to be a very small group. A very small group. I actually think this one might be a little bit more popular, but we're gonna have to wait until these maxes get tested and benchmarked. So even though that they're trying to over exaggerate the outrageous expense of the new Apple, which I'm not going to say it's not cheap. But if you try to compare that to what I'm using, you know, an Alienware, so that's going to be their M18, and just we'll give it the 8. Actually, that came out quite a bit cheaper. $64. So you can't get that much memory easily right offhand like you can in the Apple. So this is 64, but it does have its the 4090 GPU, where the Apple did not have a GPU. They have the on silicon GPU. But I still think that Apple would be doing better with the new release of the M3 from the rudimentary numbers that we had gotten last night. I think the M3 chip is going to be reasonably well received. Except I know there's a whole bunch of people who are upset about the new M3 because Apple did just release this year the M2 Ultra. So a lot of people thought that the M3 wouldn't be coming this year, it would be coming next year. So a lot of people bought the Ultra, and now that is no longer the most current version. So that could also cause some delays, but I kind of like the fact that they brought it out for this year's Christmas run. Now, they probably rushed to the release because Snapdragon made a release recently of their new ARM chip that's supposed to be really quite good. So Apple's going to have some competition, but I don't think that competition is going to be very good until Windows and apps that are based on Windows are more transcribed to the new ARM chips. I actually would be very curious to see what would end up happening to the standard Intel and AMD chips. I think that they will still be primarily good for like desktop uses, but as a lot of consumers are moving towards laptops and tablets are already using, you know, the ARM chips. But as those ARM chips start to become more and more popular in laptops, in Windows systems, not just Apple, I think we could start seeing maybe a price drop on Intel. Unless Intel is in the ARM game, I would need to check that. Good morning, Obsidian. How you doing? I feel like I'm lost right now, even though that I'm sitting here looking at the market, and I've already looked at quite a few different things this morning, even before I went live. I haven't been watching it for a couple days now, or 2 days. It's shocking at how much, when you step away for a few days, um, you know, you're trying to look at everything and trying to figure out where everything kind of landed at. Things can change quite a bit. So I'm probably going to be going back to trading. I'm thinking about it next week. I think I was going to trade this week. I'm able to trade this week, but I'm not going to because I I don't think it'd be very smart for me to trade this week. But since I went back to paper trading, the sitting and holding that I've been doing has been working. So my plan is when I go back to trading with money, I'm going to be using small position sizing, I believe. We're going to see. We're going to see. Still working on trying to grow some other stuff here. As they say, have more irons in the fire. Microsoft looks like it might start wanting to work its way back up here. But Microsoft did have this huge pop here. God. That would have been so easy to predict this drop right here. Or at least part of it. And that happened on Thursday. I missed it. Friday, not so easy. Monday, no. Monday was up. But Thursday, that drop was actually quite nice. I didn't see that Thursday. But I was messing around with Amazon, and I actually made money on Amazon, like I was showing earlier. I was pretty deep into Amazon. I made, I think it was like $900, $1,000, something like that. So, Amazon was good on that day. That's where I made it. I might throw a small share size here. I don't know. I kind of want to see what Amazon does. I got Tesla over here in the corner. Kind of want to see what that does. But lately, with what Tesla's been doing, I'm not feeling like trading it, even with fake money or real money or any kind of money. I think we need to see some strength come back around to it. All right, are we starting to get some volume into this? Yeah, we're having a little bit of volume here. Definitely some movement again. It was slowing down. Apple is coming back up. Queen and Spy actually had a pretty decent pullback post-market. Pre-market, it came back up near pre-market highs. Okay. Yeah, I think Intel, as these ARM chips are starting to become more and more prevalent, unless Intel I don't think that they're doing much with ARM. I'm gonna look into this more, because as ARM becomes more of a thing here, because Nvidia is using ARM. Yeah, I think AMD is also starting to experiment with ARM. I'm going to want to take a look into that. If Intel is not currently looking at ARM, they should. I think the ARM structure is very advanced now. Um, I don't know that stock at all there, Obsidian. I'll take a look at that one here in a little bit. I kind of want to see how this one acts here. Definitely a huge sell-off right now. Massive sell-off on Amazon. Apple doesn't look like it's doing much better right this second. Tesla looks like it's trying to go back up to 200, but I think it will test it and then it'll go down. I don't think it will hold above 200 at this moment. But what I think would be very, very intelligent for Intel to do, and I would actually like to see Intel do this. I like the Intel chips. I've used Intel for God who knows how long, forever. I used AMD a little bit, but when I was really into hardware and I was doing some development, I just preferred the Intel chips overall. Yeah, this is gonna probably do fairly good today if I could break the 0.5. Um, excuse me. Um, could go into a little bit of weakness here, so I don't know if I would take a trade on it right this second. I think I might wait that, or if I did, maybe small sizing right this second. I'll do a small sizing on my paper, so 100 units. I just grabbed 100 units. I really didn't care where it went at because, we're going to hold on to it for a second here. But, that 100 is more than low enough that I could easily ignore that and not care. So I took 100. Average fill was 0.95. So average fill about 100. It's right here. And honestly, I don't think that's a bad deal. So here's where I think if Intel was really intelligent. Yeah, see, there it goes. And I think it's still just going to keep building here. I'm pretty sure it will be making a new. I mean, I could understand if the stop loss being set somewhere nearby. Maybe at a new low for today, so down here. You could probably set a stop loss right down here. So say 0.7. But this just feels a lot. It feels like it has a lot of bit of strength here. Although these tails are kind of crazy here. I'd still think I would leave it. I think stop loss right here actually would make sense. And with 100 shares, I mean that you're not talking about much money at all. I don't even have a stop loss set in my paper because it doesn't matter. I think it's going to start to come down. We'll see. But anyway, so like what I keep saying, Intel has the knowledge to run a dual chip computer. Intel's been doing dual chip computers forever. And when I say forever, they've been doing dual chip computers forever. So if it goes down a little bit more, I'll probably, let me just go, I'll put a stop loss at right there. I'm out. So $40 is what I'm down. And I don't even think that that's too bad of an area. You could have probably made an argument to actually buy some more. Bought some more right here for the rebound going back up. But these bottoming tails seem to be kind of drastic, and I see the prices on a lot of other things starting to go down. So yeah, I'll play smart and safe. So Intel has this massive experience of running dual chips. They don't do that with their i series, so the i5, i7. They don't do that with their i series, but the Xeon series they do. What I think would be very, very intelligent is if Intel came out with a package program that they had one chip that could be used as a powerhouse, right? So that would be, like an i7 or i5, but think of it as like a turbo boost program. Like it kicks in and gives it a lot of boost. But the main system, and for the majority of the processing, would be done on an ARM chip. So you would get the benefits of the power saving and lower heat problems of ARM, right? But you would have the power of the 83s, of the I series, right? So you could have it to where, if the system needed more oomph, it could engage more computing ability. Now, the hard part between that would be trying to figure out how to program that, because you're going to have things that are programmed for one structure versus another. So that would be something that Intel and programmers would have to figure out. I have a few ideas on how that could be done. But I think if Intel moved to a dual chip, dual purpose format, now the chip is a new I series that would probably have to come out with the structure in place to be able to work with ARM. So you're probably looking at just sheer engineering there, not just coding. But I think it would also take some interesting software gymnastics to make that work. But if Intel is able to do that and perfect that, that could easily put Intel back on the map massively, even over AMD. Because AMD does not have much experience with dual chips, not like Intel does. Microsoft would probably want to help try to co-develop that. But Microsoft has been moving more towards AMD. But the other way that they can do it, so some graphic cards actually use ARM. So you could actually have Maybe like a system resource set up, kind of like a daughter card. I don't know. I'm not a computer engineer by any means. I did some software, which means that you have to have an understanding of how computer engineering works. But what I was doing was different, and I haven't done it in frickin' forever. Let's see, so I sold it out here, up here somewhere, and it dropped down quite a bit more. But I think it'd be really, really intelligent for that kind of deal to be set up. All right, so let's take a look at this one here. Um, oh, so is this a Josh trade? Was this a Josh one? Sheesh. If you got it like coming right back over here, that would have been a beautiful run. But it wasn't yesterday. It is today. Okay. So he's probably saying over 5.75, or he's looking at above 6.8. You got out just before the pop. Yeah, that I don't think you could have predicted. So he's probably looking at either right around 6 or above high of day. I don't think you'd be looking at the 6.8. The 6.8, I think would be just too much of a risk. I should probably get back into that chat room. I haven't been in that chat room in a minute now, though. Apple is continually to go down here, and I really thought that we would see Apple actually doing okay. So I didn't do any of my work I had to do this weekend. I got stuff sitting around now. Yeah, so I'm not liking what's kind of going on in general. Things are kind of moving around in a range that is going to make predicting not easy right now. Except Queen is absolutely sinking here. Is it finding strength? Is it going to start going up? Is this going to be just an area before it starts to go back down? I was hoping that we would start marching back up here, but I'm not sure about that. But yeah, no. So I think I agree with you. I was looking at Amazon to potentially keep going up, but took a slight paper trade loss on that, and that's fine. I kind of figured it was going to have some trouble with these tails here, but I thought it would still do all right, or that there was enough strength there. But to be honest with you, and with the way that I have been trading recently, I only did that paper trade on uh, paper because, you know, it doesn't matter to me. It's paper. So, you know, yeah, anyway. I do want to, let's go take a look at Ford. So Ford is at a really low area right here. That is low. That's where I sold at. Okay. I mean, can you imagine that as a short? If I had that as a short, I feel like Ford might be worth buying. You know, each time it drops like this, right? The huge drop should really be buying it. I'm gonna hold off. I'm gonna hold off on that. Boyle. This is a Bloomberg. From where it was to where it is now, this thing has fell hard. That's what she said. Um, but this could get a little interesting. I don't think I would do anything with that for today. Rivian would have been a very good short like early last week. Probably would still be a good short this week. I say probably because I have not been watching the stocks since Friday. I have not seen or looked at or even listened to the news since, well, the news Thursday. Friday I didn't even listen to the news. I didn't do anything intelligent Friday or the weekend or yesterday. I barely watched the Apple release of the new M3, and that was mainly because I was just, I was browsing on YouTube, and it popped up, and I was curious to see what Apple was going to say, because I didn't think I was going to go live today. I was thinking I was just going to sit here, look at the stocks, and then go and do my eBay and Amazon, and then go fuck off again, right? But honestly, I need some distractions, I guess. So I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'll go live. May delete this video later, this one might not be cataloged. But I was like, fuck it. I'll go live. So I see Obsidian, you're in here. Who's Jay, are you in here? Because I see that there's two people in here viewing. Because it could be Jay, it could be another person that I know, or it could just be someone who just randomly walked in here and listened to me ramble. Kind of curious. Microsoft, you are going down a little bit. With the market being the way it is, I'm not overly surprised to see that Microsoft is going down. That is a market-wide move right now, but that is a little bit more than I was thinking. Queen is definitely going down. You know, like I said, we're having a market-wide pullback right this minute. We don't need to take a look at the that doesn't work right now, so let me give me a second to fix that. This I didn't have this loaded up here. So as we can see, this map is, well, it's jacked up is what it is. World. Okay, that I'm actually a little surprised about. I was expecting to see more issues with Israel. I was actually expecting to see Israel almost completely red. I did look at shop briefly. PX, PKX. So that, I mean, on the chart it looks good, but this doesn't. Very, very low volume. Very low. BP, a little bit better volume. Maybe small sizing. I mean, it has decent volume, kind of. You know, for a large size stock, it kind of has decent volume. It is an ETB, so you know you could short it on the TOS platform. It is having a massive downtrend, more so from yesterday to today, but that's probably going to continue going into tomorrow. I wouldn't be surprised if you see it drop a whole dollar. If this keeps dropping like everything else is, I think BP would be fine. We're going to go ahead and throw BP right here. I'm not going to do that on paper. I'm just going to leave it go, but we're going to check that tomorrow. My stop loss probably would be like set just above 37. So risking 40 cents. So say take $100 risk. That'd be like you could take $250 share, sit just above 37, and for every 250, you're only risking 100. Or if you did 100, you'd be risking like 40 bucks. You know, using my little itchy nose, a little cheat sheet there. But yeah, I'm not seeing anything that's like a raging TTI. It's not an easy to borrow. CHGG. I'm using a scanner, looking through the scanner. That is an ETB. This could be a good one. I mean, hell, we'll throw it right here. I'll throw it up right here too. CHEG. I think that one is going to have chances of continuing in its general direction. Not the best volume, but decent direction picking here. You know, small sizing, I could probably see this one working out too. ELF. Okay, here you go. But that spread, oh god, that spread is ugly. But here you go. Here's a decent one. ELF. Throw that up here. I'm not a big fan of this super wide spread that you got going here, right? But really small sizing because of that spread structure. Maybe not even worth it because of that spread, but that overall, I think this is kind of interesting. Oil is still going up. Tesla is trying to go up. Microsoft is trading in a range. It's kind of making like a weird looking. Just go over to it. Like head and shoulders with hands high above. It's like, hi. Sorry, I'm being a little goofy today, or I'm trying to be goofy. I may not be doing very well at it, but this feels bearish to me. But I don't know if I would want to short that because it could be finding support near here and then work its way back up. You know, especially if the market gets a little bit of a rebound, you know, a lot of these things here can really start to turn back up. People are generally feeling bearish today. So 45% of the traders that were scored feel bullish. 55% feel bearish as of right now. And it looks like that's the way it's been all morning. People have been more bearish than bullish. And I think I would definitely agree with them. I was feeling a little bit bullish with Amazon, but that turned upside down fairly quick. Ford is starting to recover, but I like Ford. That's a really good climb back up for Ford. Comparative. I'm gonna say I think Ford is at a discount right now. And I'm sleeping on it. I'm sleeping on this one. I should trade it. I should buy it because it will go back up. It will make money. You will make $1 plus on this one. I could almost guarantee you it will come back up to right around 12 easily. If not, you know, hitting back up towards 15 and whatnot. This would be a fantastic stock if you're willing to sit and hold it for a period of time. I think Ford will do good. I think it just needs some time. Obsidian, is there anything you're looking at? Uh, well, I asked that. I'm getting up for a second. Green on Amazon, good deal. Short or long? Uh, I think shop could be a good play for short. It'd be a little bit of a long play. Long, okay. ELF is working out. Okay. Yeah, I think. Hmm. I don't know. I think I would just. Let's take a look at GM. I haven't looked at GM in forever. So GM definitely has fallen off its horse. GM for a long time was trading up in the mid 30s, touching up the 40s, and then coming back. So GM has dropped heavily. I don't even know. Are the automotive strikes, have those been resolved yet? I don't even know if those. I have no idea if these have even been resolved. Okay, 12 hours ago, the UAW with GM. Okay. Ford. What about with Ford? Okay. The UAW strike has ended with Ford. Are they striking against anyone else? Okay, all three tentative deal with union after 6 weeks of striking. Okay. Yeah, I knew Ford was the first one to go on strike. So I knew Ford was the first one, and then GM and whatever the other one was, started to finally get their shit together. 25% increase in workers' base wage over a 4-year period. $42 an hour. $1,600. I mean, if you're working a 40-hour week, honestly, that's fair. $1,600. That's for like the top people. It's more than, so it's higher than 42. But 25%. So they were paying roughly $1,260 to $1,680. But with the prices of cars going up, I don't think that's going to have a massive effect to the Ford. I will say this. So when Henry Ford was alive, Henry Ford had major issues with the union. I mean, there's movies about how bad the union and Henry Ford were, and the people that were killed over it. Kind of sad. But do I support union? I'm torn on it. I am torn on union or non-union. But I do think in some circumstances unions are very, very important. I'm going to pick a different industry altogether than automotive. But one union that I think is absolutely critical to safe operation and to the general safety of everybody are pilots. You know, the pilot unions. Because if you are a pilot, you and the airline companies are like, no, we're all going to do ABC. You can't just go to another airline because they're going to do the same thing, right? Whereas with a union, the pilots could be like, look, that is not safe, or we are not going to do that. Right, wrong, or indifferent. But having that ability that they can have a voice, and there was a pilot strike not that long ago, it's not always about money. Sometimes it's about safety, and safety for themselves or safety of the people. I think that is one of the best things that we have about unions is it's not always about the money. Now, my issues with unions is sometimes they can be not a good thing. Yes, Obsidian, you actually just hit kind of like one of the things I was talking about or was hinting towards. Some of these unions, they don't want to strike like a good balance, right? They want all the money that's, so to speak, on the table. And I guess you have to do that in the beginning to try to get somewhere because the other party's not going to want to come to the table. And that's why sometimes these negotiations can be quite difficult. But honestly, with the Ford strike being done, I think Ford is at a really good price point. I'm going to buy a little bit more on my paper trade here. So I got 500. I'll buy another 5. That just brought my average price all the way down to 12. Because my average was like 12.20 or so. And now it's 12. I think Ford I think that's a good price. So now I have 1,000 on paper. Tesla is going up here, but so I've seen some union deals where I did not think that the strike was good at all or beneficial or anything other than greed. And I think that's where it's very, very important that if you are part of a union, that the leadership that you have is very, very crucial to a proper union. Yeah, I can agree with that. And sometimes I guess with some negotiations, sometimes you have to start at a number that is just completely unreasonable. Like you said, asking for the moon. But if you go in and you're trying to buy a car, let's say they're trying to sell it for 2,000. You might come in and for a fact they're not going to sell it to you for 1,000. But you might be like, hey, look, I'm not going to pay 2,000. We pay 1,000. And what that really does, what that tells the other person is, where we're really talking about is a $500 price difference, right? Because I'm not going to sell the car to you for 1,000. I know that you don't want to pay 2,000. So we're really talking about a $500 difference here. And then they might try to go, can they be 10% above that, 10, 20, 30% above that, that $500 difference? Or, and then it's your job to try to get them to go below the 1,500. And I think union sometimes can be a little bit of that. They already know they come in with a reasonable offer. They could get rejected. And then they're trying to get to that reasonable number. But I also think that well, I mean that's the benefit of having a union. But I think if you have good leadership to begin with, the employer, the owner, the management of the company, if they take into account the life and the people that are building their company, they wouldn't have to deal with unions. That's my opinion. I've owned companies and I've hired people before. I may not always be the best boss. Actually, I know for a fact I wasn't. I was not always good with leadership. Now, I was in my young 20s and never was in a leadership position in that sense. And so some days it was trying to figure it out, and a lot of learning, a lot of growing. But the one thing that never happened, I never paid not one employee minimum wage. Uh, Everyone started off at the same price. Uh, and then as somebody worked, the better that they got at their job, the more that they would get paid. So if they were able to perform more, they got paid more automatically. It was not like they had to come to me or I'd be like, no, let's give it 6 months. It was, we're going to evaluate you and we're going to pay what I think is fair. And sometimes I'd ask them, or if they'd ask me saying, hey, I would like to get, a raise. Well, what would what were you thinking? They'll give me whatever it was, and then we'll talk about it. And I would let them know, well, okay, if you'd like to try to get, if I didn't think the raise was reasonable, okay, I would sit there and I'll say, well, all right, here's what I would expect, or here's what I would need from you so I can offer you that wage. I would never just flat out say, no, get out of my office. It was like, okay, I understand, expenses, this, that, whatever. Um, Hell, I had one employee who came to me and he was like, he was looking to try to get a pay raise or something because he needed a vehicle and, didn't have means to get to work, and it was costing him a good bit of money to try to get to work. So the quickest way I was able to get that taken care of was I just gave him a car. So he had a car with insurance and gas card. It was not a car. It was actually a pickup truck. But he just took the shop truck and was taking that to, so he could get back and forth from work. But I think that is the sign of a company that would not need to have a union. Because if the employer is trying to fulfill the needs of their employees or giving them the ability to, I think that's actually what's more important. But companies where that may not be readily available, like a company that is traded on the New York Stock Exchange or has multiple owners or this or that or whatever, or a place like Walmart, I think a union could be very important in those circumstances, because trying to get something to be changed across the board, I think it'd be easier to pull teeth than to make a change like that. That's my opinion. And during that conversation, a lot of people left, so I think I bored people with that thought process. But that's my thought. I don't try to make content just for a small group of people. But that's my thought. Yeah, so Tesla I would not be really interested in buying. I think if anything, I think it's more of a short. I think Tesla is more of a short. So BP, I was thinking as a continuation short, but that's actually popping back up. Shop, it's popping back. Queen looks like it's popping back. Yeah, Queen popped back up. So SPY's probably doing the same thing. Apple is kind of going near open. Oh, talking about that. So Obsidian. TOS would not work on the Apple Silicon until just recently. So TOS will now work on Apple Silicon. So I might work on trying to actually get an Apple computer sooner or later to start trading on. So that way I have one Windows, one Apple. I really love having that idea that I would have a backup system that will be independent of one operating system. You know, just having that flexibility to switch if need be. I like that. But yeah, you could not run TOS on Apple Silicon until a couple of days ago. And I think the Mac Studio is a fantastic tool compared to your traditional desktop in price and capability. Now, the M2 or the Mac Studio is still having the M2. They did not update it with the M3. I don't know why not. But I mean, that's still not cheap, but I think in general this is a good price package compared to the to some Dell offerings. Now, when it comes to computers, I only buy Dell or Apple, unless I'm building it myself with my own components. But for a pre-built point of view, Dell or Apple for anything pre-built. But yeah, I'd like to get the Mac Studio. The iMac they did in the M3. I wonder what they're charging for that. But the iMac is only a single screen. And way underpowered. But I got some fun colors here. But yeah, anyway. Yeah, these displays are god awfully expensive. Anyway, I'm not gonna bore you guys with that. So, I think that's going to be the end of this live stream. To be honest, there's not much anything that I'm seeing right now that I'll be interested in. Tesla is curling up. There was just a huge volume spike that I somehow missed and clicked on the wrong one. It looks like it was mainly sell-off though, right here. So got close to the 201 and massive sell. That's a double volume. So 201 definitely can be a area that people are not wanting it to go above. So be kind of curious to see if it kind of keeps chopping on that and then it breaks above it. But that could be an area where it could start to go down for at least a short while. Or it could just be a flat out resistance, especially at the time that it has been. The market's been open for almost an hour now. So Yeah, so I know Mac. What? So Mac and Intel are the only ones that were really dual chips. Yes, the Macs were dual chips. Um, Now Windows also has a dual chip, but that is mainly only Intel chips for Windows or server components. So your dual chips and consumer grade was only Apple. Um, Pro consumer or pro or commercial grade was Intel. IBM has dropped the ball multiple times, honestly. IBM had the ability to be the market leader several times throughout history, and IBM never had the proper team behind them. I think Tim Cook worked for IBM, right? I'm pretty sure Tim Cook worked for IBM. Yeah, he spent 12 years at IBM. I swore that he was. And then, but he was not able to do what he needed to with IBM. That's the reason why he decided to join Apple, I believe. Um, Steve Jobs really gave Tim the ability to do what he thought was right, my opinion. And I don't think Apple is doing all that good because that's so Steve Jobs died. Uh, when did he? It has to be in here. Let me find where Steve Jobs' name is said. There. So he died 2011, and then Tim joined in January 2011. Okay, so yeah. So Steve Jobs had left Apple due to a fight or something. I don't remember. I watched the movie. So he left Apple. Apple started to do actually not good at all. Then Steve came back. Tim Cook came in shortly right around that time, and then Steve passed away. In short, pancreatic cancer, if I remember correct. Um, I did actually a lot of I don't want to say history, but yeah, pancreatic something tumor, which is a cancer. Because I like to learn what people like Steve Jobs or I don't know why, but my brain just ran into a huge fart. But you know the people who made companies, right? Uh, Henry Ford. You know, there's a lot of things about Henry Ford I don't agree with, but just the drive that they had, that's I respect that. I respect that a lot. Yeah, IBM had gotten a fat head, basically. And then the IBM processors were not even. I'm not saying that they weren't great, but they weren't changing as much They were not drumming up as much excitement as Apple would or Intel. If you look at IBM commercial, the colors are very flat. It's people in a business suit. It's boring. That's what it is. It's boring. When Intel made a release, and I don't know, maybe IBM had some more exciting things, but I'm going back from my memory of childhood here. But when Intel made a release, it had cool names. There was color. There was excitement. People going, doing the over exaggerated, like, oh my god, that is so powerful. Shit like that, right? So even though it might have been annoying, it made you stop and look. And I remember a lot of the Intel ads. Like they had one for a while where they were like the car was going like really fast, and they were like, "What? Do you have a big V8 block in there?" And the guy goes, "No, it's powered by Intel." Like it was so cheesy, but still to this day, I remember that. God, I might try to go find that commercial later. To me, it was actually funny. Uh, I don't even care if IBM leveraged that connection or not. What IBM failed to do was to make their thing cool. IBM was really just trying to target business customers and totally neglected the consumer market. IBM was about mainframe computers, big computer systems, expensive computer systems, and they completely neglected the consumer market for a while. IBM did not really come out with a consumer type product until it was already way too late. I mean, hell, you had Windows, I think, stopped really kind of like even advertising IBM. It was more Dell, Hewlett Packard, not Lenovo. There was a Micro Center, not Micron. Um, I'm trying to remember what the first. Yeah, see, so here you go. That was this I believe was the first computer I've had. Yeah, this is the one. With that big blue thing that said Micron on the bottom. I think my case was slightly different, maybe not. But here's like kind of like what I'm saying. You see the Pentium with the exclamation marks, but meaning three. The colors. You know, God, they want so much money for this. Can you imagine buying this just to have? I still remember the old boot up sound, that Windows would make. And this is Windows 98. Damn. I remember using Windows 98 and bootlegging it. I remember Windows 95. Um, IBM early ad. See, so this is IBM's early ad. Like, I don't know. This was not exciting, and like there's just versus Intel. You know, Intel. You had a lot of color, you had a lot of things kind of going on. Yeah, you had some of these boring ones too. But, Intel definitely stuck around a little bit more with the like the blue and the color comparative to um, IBM. God, it's weird kind of looking at old tech and being like, shoot, kind of remember using it. But yeah, so IBM had the ability to really excel, I think. But can you imagine if Intel is able to come out with a compatibility network between both the I series and an ARM chip? Dude, I think that would be nuts. You would have the super long battery life like Apple, but you would also have the sheer massive processing ability that Intel would have. Like, you could easily split it, like saying, so Windows and the majority of the apps would use ARM, right? But Java doesn't, or used to not work very well on ARM. I think Apple's finally working that out between hardware, software, and people are starting to develop a little bit more for the ARM structure. But you could have it saying, okay, Windows could do it to where Windows runs on ARM, browsing works on ARM, things like that that does not need a whole lot can all work on ARM structure. But if you want to go and play a game or something that needs a more of a high power CPU instead of low power, like, Apple setup, the ARM, it can load up and use the i7. And in that case, the i7 or whatever processor that you're using would not need to run the operating system. That would already be handled by something else, right? The ARM. So that processor, you'd be able to get away with a weaker processor, smaller processor, because that processor would be purely doing one task, not trying to run an operating system, not trying to do this, not trying to do that. And so, hello, Akar, how you doing? But let's, Akar, today would not be a good day to talk about pets or making pet sounds, please. That would not be a good thing for today. Not even a little bit. But, shit, now I totally forgot where I was. Because now I'm thinking, yeah, anyway. Oh yeah, that's where I was. So yeah, if Windows and Intel was no, that's not the problem, Akar. So Friday, I had to put Layla down. Layla was my dog, if you didn't know her name, and she was with me for 18 years. I had woken up Friday. I was gonna go live, and but when I got out of bed, she was not doing well, so I had to rush her to the hospital or to the vet doctor, which also happens to be a vet hospital. But anyway, um, and there's not a whole lot that they can do for her. So I had to make a very, 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 very hard decision. And yeah, anyway, let's not talk about that. I'm trying to occupy my mind in different things for today. Yeah, I had her for a very long time, a lot longer than I probably should have, but I'm not complaining. So if Intel and Windows can work out a process to have both a I processor and a presser ARM processor to work in unison, not even just for their desktop, I mean for laptop purposes, but for desktop as well. I think that could be extremely powerful. I don't even know if I would have a way to try to tell Intel or Windows that and get paid for the idea. But I think there would be enough, or it could easily be figured out with the right engineering teams to do that. Apple might be starting to work its way back up. Kind of curious to see what it will do here. God, Micron computer. That's old as hell. I'm just sitting here still thinking about the power capability between. I don't know. Anyway, I might look into that later. I'm trying to figure out. Hmm. I don't know if that would be something I could actually patent. I'm not going to worry about it. Because I really do think there is something there using a dual chip process. I think it would be super, super interesting. Oh, cool. Those should be here today. I was not expecting that. Anyway, I think this is where I'm just going to go ahead and call it a day. I think Apple maybe for long. I might go to Apple for a long trade. I kind of like what it's starting to do, but it would be a small trade, looking for a multi-day run. But because I have not been trading much, I'm not going to overly worry about it. My Ford stock did go back down from where I entered in at, which was up over here. But I'm not going to worry about trying to get back out of it. I think it's fine. I'll see what it does tomorrow. I might just close out the. I don't know what I'll do with that, honestly. I don't think I'll close it out. I think I'll just keep it on paper. Because I know it will go back up. I know it will. So I don't think there's anything I would trade as of today. Nvidia going down below 400. Nvidia, you could have a major pullback. All right. Intel. Yeah, I don't think there. Honestly, I don't think there would be any trade that I would openly do right now. I think I would sit back and see what happens in the following day or two. Rivian is still going up. I wouldn't have expected that. Oh, I don't even have. Oh, yeah, I do. Right there. Rivian, I don't think it's going to stay up. So Rivian could be a good short long term, but I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, like I said, this is where I'm going to end this live stream. I'm just I'm probably going to go live tomorrow. I know I said I was only going to do Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, but I didn't go live yesterday, and today I kind of just needed to start putting things back into my routine. And so yeah, I'll go live tomorrow. Probably right around 8 o'clock, give or take. We'll see. There is a video that I am working on that will be uploaded to my YouTube at a later period. And I do go live periodically on my TikTok. So there's that. If you want to find any of those things, just type in my name. My name is pretty universal across all the platforms that I post on for social media. And yeah, that's going to be the end of my day. Have a fantastic day, Akar, and you too as well, Obsidian. And I will probably chat with you a little bit later on today to let me know how things go. So take care. And I'm out. streaming for an hour and 45 minutes.